Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Stress Less, Achieve More call. My name is Stephanie Matos, my mindset coach on the Brightly Thrive team, and this call is all about helping you achieve and accomplish a more calm, happy, healthy existence by reducing stress. And today, I would like to talk a little bit about a couple different topics, and I'm going to do my best to keep my thoughts coherent because basically this is a topic that I just kind of came to me as like a little bit of an epiphany not very long ago. I would say like maybe like a week and a half ago or something. And so basically I haven't talked a whole ton about it. So we'll see if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, feel free to ask me questions. So what I realized is that a lot of times in our life, we have people, places, things, ideas, and beliefs that kind of challenge us, right? I might see somebody on Facebook posting about their amazing vacation, and I might think, gosh, they just brag so much about their life. Or I might see somebody post themselves in a bikini on the beach and go, who do they think they are for being in a bikini? Or somebody might say something mean to me, and all of a sudden it just affects me so much. I can't believe somebody said that to me. I can't believe somebody called me that name. I can't believe that somebody said that I was mean or whatever, right? And so I'm pretty sure that most people who are either on this call or watching the replay have experienced that before, where things happen in our lives that make us feel some type of way, right? And what I had a realization about a week and a half ago, like I said, was that a lot of the things that cause us a lot of pain in life are things that we've agreed to. What do I mean by that? So if somebody, let's say somebody joins your team and this person's doing all kinds of stuff and doing amazing things, and you're starting to feel like, oh no, they're outshining me, or they're doing better than me, or people like them better than me, or whatever. Just as an example, there must be something inside of me that has agreed that I'm not good enough, not smart enough, if everybody's not giving me accolades and I'm not doing the most, that if I'm not killing myself or burning myself out or stressing myself out, I'm not doing good enough and I need to do more, 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 more to be valuable and all of this kind of stuff, right? If somebody is posting on Facebook and they're bragging about their awesome experience they had in Italy or Spain or Disney World or wherever, I might have accidentally made one of the reasons why I may feel a little bit negative seeing that is because I might have made an agreement that I'll never be able to go to Italy. I'll never be able to go to Spain. I won't be able to go ever to Disney or whatever, right? Or I may have made a like if for the bikini one, right? It might be that I made a decision. Oh, thank you, Hannah Jade. I appreciate that. She says, loving this so far. I'm so happy about that. Um, so let's say if it's a bikini photo and I'm like, who does she think she is frolicking on the beach in that bikini? It might be because I have made it mean that my body isn't beautiful the way that it is. I'll never be fit and trim and healthy and blah, blah, blah. Like I would never do that. Right. So I've made these accidentally made these agreements with myself. Um, and so I think that it's important for all of us to see where in our lives we have accidentally made an agreement about something that is keeping us stuck in annoyance, in frustration, in bad relationships or in bad places that really we shouldn't be, or whatever it is. Like, let's say if it's a relationship, right? Because I think we were kind of discussing a little bit before we hit record about attachment styles, right? So, one of the attachment styles, and I want to just first say, I am not an expert at attachment styles. I know about this much about all of them. However, I think that it's a very interesting topic. And so, there is one attachment style that's anxiety, like an anxious attachment style, right? And then there's a more, and I can't remember the name of the one that's, maybe Hannah Jade, if you know what it's called, but it's more calm and you're not so anxious all the time in this attachment style. And so in the anxious attachment, it's like if they don't message me, secure. I knew it was like a simple word, secure attachment, right? So secure attachment is not so clingy and needy and, freaking out all the time and thinking bad things that really aren't happening and like all of this kind of stuff, right? And then there's an in between one that's a mixture of both. And then I think there's even another one that's got another level of anxious attachment. But basically, if I am avoidant too, so avoidant, I knew there was another one. So avoidant, thank you. And so if I have an anxious attachment style that says, if this person doesn't text message me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they hate me or they don't like me. Or if they don't get back to me within 30 minutes of my text, then that means they've given up on me or blah, 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 blah. Chances are I accidentally have an agreement with myself that I made probably in childhood that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't smart enough, that I have to, you know, pick up the scraps and put up with the scraps of life and what people have to give me and like all of this kind of stuff. Right. And so so just to kind of circle back to that, you can see how this keeps us stuck in places where we really should step away from. It can keep us stuck in a lot of stress. It can cause a lot of stress when you think, I'll never be able to do X. I'll never be good enough to do Y. I will never be able to achieve or accomplish Z, whatever it is. Right. Let me just see what you're putting in here. Oh my gosh, girl, me too. She says relatable from my past. I think we've all been there a little bit. Yes, I would agree with that. So when we talk about these agreements, right, I think it's important to know that they can be financial, they can be based on friendships or relationships, they can be based on achievements or accomplishments, they can be based on what is possible for you in your life, like any kind of dreams that you might have, or passions or desires that you might have for your future. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to just take a little bit of time, pick up one of these, notebook, pen, and just start writing about things that might trigger you into negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Being Having this opportunity to become aware of some of the things that are causing us stress in our lives and when they happen. So it's like, ooh, every single time I see this certain family on Instagram or Facebook, I start to feel this way. And insert feeling here because it's going to be different for everybody. Or every single time I see this person's number pop up on my phone, I start to feel this way. Or every single time I open up my laptop to check my emails, I feel this way. Or every single time I drive by this place where this bad thing happened, I feel this way. Right. So the triggers to these negative feelings or the triggers to extra stress in your life and in your body can be sneaky. They can be a song, they can be a smell, they can be an experience, they can be a word or a phrase, they can be an article of clothing, it can be anything. So it's kind of interesting how these things pop up in our lives. But generally speaking, we talked about this a few times in previous calls, so I won't really cover it too much, but we have a conscious and a subconscious, unconscious mind. And a lot of these things that are causing us stress that are happening on a daily basis, and this is besides like work, kids, family, home, you know, keeping everybody fed and healthy and happy. Like that's just activities of daily living. This is more like, where have I accidentally made this mean something? Where have I accidentally, am I blowing this up out of proportion? Where am I accidentally doing this that's causing extra stress? So it becomes layered, where it's like, I'm already stressed because of work things, and then I'm stressed because family things, and then I'm stressed just because I'm supposed to keep my house clean, drink enough water, go to bed early, blah, 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 like all of this stuff. And then on top of that, I have these secret triggers that I'm not even aware of that are then just kind of, you know, that's saying the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like a lot of times these things can become those things, right? And part of the reason why they're so sneaky is because they are a lot of times happening on the subconscious level, which simply means that you're not aware of them. So they're not happening inside of your awareness. They're happening outside of your awareness or behind the scenes. So the subconscious programming is running 95% of what you do on a daily basis. It's part of the autonomic nervous system, which if you think about it, it's like the autonomic nervous system helps you breathe, your heartbeat, these kind of things, but you're not actively telling them to do it. They just beat. You just breathe. Sometimes we do have to remind ourselves to breathe, especially when we get stressed or anxious. That's one of the things that starts to get short and shallow, and sometimes we hold our breath. However, for the most part, your body is always going to make sure that you're breathing at some interval, right? And so what we want to understand is very much the same way that we're not telling our heart to beat. I'm not telling myself like, today's a great day to feel bad about myself. Today's a great day to think about how unworthy I am of love and support and all of this kind of stuff. We don't do that. It's happening automatically. And when I used to have a very, very, very bad mindset and have a lot of anxiety and depression and all kinds of stuff that I was dealing with, I would literally wake up and be like, here we go again, another bad day. It became an expectation. It became a habit. It became my norm, right? But that didn't mean that it wasn't changeable at the time. I had no clue I had any power to change it, right? So the first step to understanding what have I accidentally agreed to that I can never become some amazing human, or that I can't help a lot of people, or that I can't go and do this thing, or I can't go on this vacation, or whatever it is. Getting clear on what the things are that you've accidentally agreed to that actually are making you miserable in the present moment. And what that does is it brings awareness to the things. Okay. So when you're aware of something, you are more likely to fix it or change it or think about it a different way, or just notice it, acknowledge it. Like, oh my gosh, every time I talk to this person, I start to feel anxious. That's so interesting. I wonder what that is or where that's coming from. Or every single time I am at this particular location doing this whatever event, I start to feel anxious and a little bit stressed, and I don't really know what that is. Or every time I see on Facebook this or that or whatever it is, right? So once you start to become aware, and I call it consciously aware of what's happening subconsciously, then you actually have the power to change these things and change your mind about things. And recently, in a different community that's connected to Brightly Thrive, I actually did a whole presentation on the power of identity, right? And identity goes hand in hand with this agreements that I'm calling it, right? Where I make an agreement that I'll never be able to move to another city. I'll never be able to work this kind of job. I'll never be able to accomplish this level of income, or whatever it is for you, right? That those agreements become a part of who you are and the fabric of who you are and your identity, even if they aren't true or real, even if they were manufactured, created, given to you by others. So when it comes to identities, we can't. And Hannah Jade, by the way, you're driving, I know, but if you want anything, need anything, if anything doesn't make sense, please let me know. Otherwise, you can just stay safe and don't type or anything. But I want to invite you in case you want to ask anything or share anything. So basically, when you think about identities, sometimes they're given to us, meaning people have said, you're the good one, you're the bad one, you are the black sheep, you are the one that helps so much, she's the helper, she's the friendly one, she's more grumpy. Like, it's funny how when we're little, we get labeled a lot, right? We get labeled as things. And so some of the and that becomes your identity. We were like, oh well, I'm the one that helps all the time. Oh, I'm the black sheep, so I just rebel, or whatever it is, right? So those are the ones that are given to you. Some of them we give to ourselves, and some of them are based on, let's say, if I tried to lose 20 pounds, which I did, you guys, I used to weigh 50 pounds more than I do now, like 15 years ago. It's been a long time. But what I would do is I would lose 10 pounds, gain back 20, lose 30 pounds, gain back 40, lose 40 pounds, gain back 50. Like, I was in this vicious cycle. And so I had a belief system that I was the type of person who couldn't stick to a diet plan. Now, granted, the diets that I was doing were absolutely insane and so bad for my body. And it's good that I wasn't sticking to them because they were bad. So I'm the type of person who doesn't follow through with what I say. I'm the type of person who is very weak and doesn't have good, what's it called? Willpower. I don't have any good willpower. Have you ever heard that before? I can teach about willpower on a different day, but there's a whole caveat and thing about willpower. What we can maybe we can talk about that on Monday. But basically, I had labeled myself all of these things, and I also became the type of person who gains back any weight I lose and then some, right? And I made that my identity. I had made an agreement that this was my identity. And so what happened is, guess what? That's exactly what I received. That was exactly what I got. It wasn't until I made the decision that I was no longer available for that way of thinking, feeling, and acting, and I was ready to become a different version of myself and have a different identity, that I was able to lose the weight. And I've never had to deal with weight ever since then, right? And so what we want to understand is that this is part of who you are calling yourself, or what you okay, so actually let's rewind really quick. Some of these are given to us. Some of them are given by ourselves, by experiences from the past. So if you were, somebody who did a lot of bad things in your life, and then you reformed, repented, and became this amazing human being, you might carry some of the guilt, shame, and blame from before, even though currently you're a great person, right? And so what we want to understand is that the version of who we are now is very flexible, and the version that we've always been does not mean that we have to always be that way. So if there's anything that you've accidentally made an agreement upon, that is, number one, I am not worthy, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, I've got a sweet tooth. You have no idea how many people I have heard say they have a sweet tooth when really they just need strategies. It's like, no, you don't. It's just, you just need some strategies, and you accidentally have a bad habit of eating sweets when you're stressed, or whatever it is. And that means that you can break those habits. It just takes time, but most people don't give enough time in between to become the new version. So there's a you now and a you later, and there's a journey in between you now and you later. And that means that you have to go through this pathway that is not always fun, and it's not always easy, and you're not going to do it perfectly, and kind of making friends with the fact that it's okay to sometimes mess up and then get back on the wagon again. It's okay. And it's actually part of the process, and how you build the neurology around these things, right? So what we want to understand is, what identities am I actually taking on? Like, I'm the depressed one, I'm the anxious one, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, I'm bad at that, I'm bad at this, like whatever it is for you. I'm not good at tech, which I know a lot of people that are watching this video right now are very good at tech. However, I'm sure there's probably some people on the staff that probably consider themselves very bad at tech. I've heard this a lot, where people literally have a tech phobia, right? And it's like, no, you can learn how to do that, and you can become the type of person who understands tech very well. It just might take you a little bit of time to figure it out, and that's okay, right? So what we've covered today so far is agreement. So how am I agreeing to this way of thinking, feeling, and acting that isn't serving me? And more importantly, it's holding you back from happiness and success and the desires that you have inside of your life. Let me see this. I'm just reading the chat really quick. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. And so maybe, so what she's saying is that she's feeling very stressed, or not, well, I'll use the word stress because that's the stress less call. She did not use this word, but she's feeling uncomfy is actually the word that she used, around filming for a project, right? Like filming a video, editing it. She feels very comfortable with live videos. And I am kind of the same, Hannah Jade. And part of this is because I've practiced it so much. So it might be that you're just so used to going live that it's like no big deal to you, and that this feels more contrived and like, and so that could very well be what it is. And so let's talk about this really quick. So this is a great opportunity to kind of just like talk about this as a topic. So if I only ride my bike everywhere I go, and I literally don't walk anywhere, walking is going to feel very, very awkward, right? If I walk everywhere and never ride my bike anywhere, biking is going to feel very, very awkward. And you know what's even interesting is that I talked about this a couple weeks ago, that I go to the sauna at my gym, and it's just a room, not fancy. It's got a wooden bench that's a U shape. There is no better seat in the whole sauna. So it's not like this seat has more heat and this seat has less heat, blah, blah, blah. It's equal across the board. There's no view in it because it's a cedar sauna. So it doesn't really matter where you sit, but I always sit in the same seat. And I always have the opportunity to sit in the same seat because I go in off hours. So I usually go when there's not that many people there. It's not busy at the gym. So I always get my seat. Well, I went to the gym the other day, a couple weeks ago, and somebody was sitting in that seat, and I went, "Oh my gosh, that's the first time I've never experienced somebody sitting in my seat." It's not really mine, you guys. It doesn't have my name on it, and not only that, it doesn't really matter where I sit because I get the same result, right? And so what I did was I used that as an opportunity because I was like, this is really interesting. So I put my towel down and I'm sitting there and I was like, I feel so uncomfortable sitting in the opposite seat. I felt so uncomfortable just sitting opposite to where, because we were facing each other like this. So normally I sit here, and I really use it as an opportunity to be like, wow, where else in my life, because she mentioned it as uncomfy, right? And that's how I would say I was in the gym. It wasn't like I was going to scream and cry and tell her to leave or anything like that at all, but it was a noticeable feeling of discomfort in my body just as a result of sitting in a different seat, right? And so that was something that literally doesn't change anything in my life, is sitting in a different seat in the sauna. Yet I felt that feeling. And so what I did was I was like, where else in my life is this uncomfortable feeling keeping me stuck? And where am I allowing myself to feel safe in something that's just as habitual? Right. And so this is the reason why I brought that up, is because that's exactly how I feel in live videos like this. So when I'm communicating live, or I have a group, or whatever, I feel so good. The more people, the better. I love having so many people on when they're talking and like all of this kind of stuff. I love it. I love not knowing what people are going to ask. I love, just kind of coming up with stuff on the fly and like whatever, like that feels so good to me. The other stuff doesn't as well. However, it's mainly because I do this for like 7 hours a week, every single week for the last like 5 years. Right. So guess what? Pretty practiced at this, pretty comfortable with it, and not very comfortable doing that because I don't make videos every single day. I have a great friend named George who does. Like he makes videos every single day, and he does them effortlessly, and that is his form of communication. Like, so if I call him and leave him a message, he'll send me back a video, right? And so that's because he's practiced it. The sheer volume of videos that he's made, he's very easy, it's very easy for him. And the same thing happened to me with speaking on stages. I was petrified. I did it once and I was like, oh, I could do this. This is fun. And now I love to do it, right? But I had to get over that hump of allowing myself to feel the discomfort of it, and then realize, oh, you're halfway decent at this and you're just going to get better. And then allow myself to also be a beginner is another thing that's very challenging for people to do, is understand that you have to crawl before you walk, before you run. And for some reason, when we are babies, so many people that are watching this replay and have babies themselves, or are around people that have babies, and what do? Oh my gosh, look at her, she crawled. Oh my gosh, look at her, she pulled herself up. Oh my gosh, she just gnawed on a little banana. Like, we're like praising them for doing these little tiny things, right? For whatever reason, when we become adults, that goes away, and we expect ourselves to be good at everything the first time we've ever done it, or else we might not do it, or else we shouldn't do it. Actually, it's like, no, I could never do that. I'm going to be bad at it. Yeah, you will be probably the first time, but it might not be as bad as you think, right? And it's like, why couldn't you do, like, let's say maybe a crappy job the first time you do a video? And I'm not talking to Hannah Jade. I know she does very well on video, but let's just say in general, let's just say like you do a crappy job the first time on video. What if you could go, good job for freaking showing up? Good job for doing that. You so were scared of that and you did it, and you're just going to get better at your performance. Your performance is going to get better. Then the second time it's better, and the third time it's better, and the fourth time it's better. But a lot of people will never ever try because they are so scared to fail, even though that's part of how you get better, right? Is messing it up and doing it better the next time. I have such a tenderness for kids and babies. Yeah. And that tenderness that we all feel for kids and babies, for whatever reason, it goes away, especially for ourselves as adults. So I work in a company that people are doing marketing and sales and, all of this kind of stuff for the first time ever. Right. And a lot of them beat themselves up because they don't know what they're doing. But that's the exact reason why they're in the program, is so that they can learn. But even though that's the reason why they started, they still have a tendency to beat themselves up. Right. And so this is just something for all of us to just consider, think about, is what have I agreed to in my life that actually I don't really know that I want to agree to this anymore? What are the identities that I've actually given myself that aren't very good? And I used to have an identity that I sucked on camera, I sucked on stage, and that I didn't wasn't good around people. And guess what? All three of those were wrong. Couldn't have been more wrong, but I really believe that they were true because that's what my brain had pumped through my nervous system for so many years. And it wasn't until I went, you know what, I'm just gonna just do this messy and I'm gonna step out of this box that I put myself in by labeling myself in all these ways. That was really when my life started to expand and grow and really become something that I'm really happy to be living now, when I really couldn't have said that then. So anyways, you guys, time is up. Time flies when you're having fun. Thank you so much for this. This helps me so much. Yay. I'm so happy to hear that. So what I would say is, how can you treat yourself with a little bit more kindness this week? How can you journal a little bit and get clear around these things? I would love to hear from you in the Slack channel. So if you have anything to add, please send me a message, and Erin will be sure to make sure that I receive it. All right, you guys, until we meet again, I want to wish you so much love, so many blessings, so much health, healing, and success to each and every one of you. Hopefully I get to see you on Monday or Thursday of next week. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.